Hi, this is Wendy. I just wanted to do a little video to introduce you to the book that I am launching called Wearing Your Weird. This is a book that I initially wrote when I was 12 years old, and it was the story basically about my move from Canada to North Carolina. It was quite a big, huge thing in my life at the time, and of course I had to write about it. As a writer, whenever something important happens in your life, you just have to put it down on paper, and I did. And I used 104 pages to type it down when I was 12 years old. And I was so impressed with myself, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to send this out to publishers. Let's see what's going to happen. And of course I got rejection letters galore. And unfortunately I allowed it to discourage me. And I ended up hating the book, and I was so like, oh, how could I think that I could possibly get published when I was so young, And I think a few years later, Drew Barrymore got her autobiography published, and I was so jealous. So anyway, years and years later, I finally decided that it was time to pick the book back up again, because I knew there were things about the book that were very important to me. And when I looked at the pages, I thought, there's some salvageable material here. And I basically rewrote the entire thing, and of course expanded on it. 104 pages was all I could muster when I was 12 years old, but now it's quite larger. So what I decided to do was chop up the story into 3 parts. So part 1 is the part that I'm releasing right now, book 1, and it's called Wearing Your Weird in the Great White North. So it basically takes place in my Canada years. Actually, it's just basically just like a year of my life up there, the year before we moved, to kind of give a little backstory and to get you to see, to really get to know the characters that were around me, to really, that was important to me to really put a lot into creating that world that I lived in Canada. My family, my friends, small world, but it was, my world. And we each, that's an interesting thing that I think about sometimes, is each person, each individual walking around. It's really weird to think about, but we each have our own universe going on. When you're you're the center of your universe, and everything revolves around you. Think about that. Think about that. Every single person that you see out there is one big universe. They're the center of their universe, and there's an entire book series in every single person. And that's very interesting to me. But anyway, so what I wanted to do was just focus on the 3 parts of the book. The part in Canada, where you get to meet all the characters, and you really get used to this environment, and you think, yes, this is home. That way, when the move actually happens, you really feel like things have been torn away from you, and you really feel what the Wendy character is feeling when she is ripped away from her natural surroundings, and she's plopped into this new place where she doesn't know anybody. We've all had these experiences, and I think it was interesting writing it from a 12-year-old perspective. I worked very hard to keep it that way. So therefore, now that I have kids of my own, I thought, you know what? I think I actually am going to keep this book in the 12-year-old girl voice, and see what happens. So I think it's something that young readers can enjoy, and I think it's something that us adults can enjoy who experienced the 80s, because of course I had to make all these references to the 80s, to the mid 80s, which is, when this happened, 85, 86. Anyone, anyone born in that time period, you'll understand a lot of the references I have going on, even if you're not from Canada. We listen to the same music up there, believe it or not. So anyway, even Living in America, which is a big, huge part of the book, that James Brown song, Living in America, very strongly highlighted in the book. So anyway, I will, I guess I should go for now, but I wanted to just leave this little message and say how excited I am about this book launch. I do plan on having both a print on demand and a Kindle version for sale. So stay tuned for more, and see you later. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Bye-bye.